Hi there, Melanie Claire Houghton here, and welcome back to Badassery Central. Today's video is all about overcoming the busyness addiction. Now, this is somewhat of the most socially acceptable addiction out there. So many women are caught in it and they don't even know it. It is the incessant action taking with the absence of reward. And what that means is women who are, flying through a million to-dos in a day and, got so many thoughts going through their head and so many things that they've got to get done in the day that they get to the end of the day and their thoughts are still running with all of the things they haven't yet got done and, focusing on everyone else and all of these thoughts about this person and that person and this thing and I should be doing that. It's this whole distraction from the present moment. And it's quite easy to get caught into. I was there, I had a 6-figure business and I was burnt out and running on adrenaline. And, it isn't, you can have a certain level of success doing that. It's just not the most enjoyable form of success. So I had to learn a new way because the things that I were doing stopped working. I started getting really run down and burnt out and unhappy and just, so I'm glad that I slowed down before it became a health issue and reassessed the way I was showing up and being in my life and my business and course corrected and got a different way. But I see it a lot. It's a very, very common thing for women in their businesses and in their careers to be stuck in a busyness addiction, which is doing for doing's sake alone, in order to avoid the void, as I call it. So you'll notice that you're in a busyness addiction if you find it difficult to sit still and do nothing. And that brings up discomfort or anxiety or fear, and you're trying to fill the spaces. That's one clear sign that you're in a busyness addiction because you don't feel comfortable with stillness, or you've learnt, like I did when I was younger, that productivity equals self-worth. So if you're not doing something, then you're wasting your time, or you're being lazy, or you're not a productive member of society, or any of those things. So it's an overdoing with not enough being, and you can be just as successful, and I felt a lot more successful when you embrace a different perspective and come out of a busyness addiction. So if you know what I'm talking about and I was a chronic workaholic, that's another sign, and you have discord in your relationships, perhaps you either single or you don't have as happy a relationship as you would like, or perhaps it's showing up in some area that you're doing all this work but you're not seeing the reward for it. Maybe your bank balance still isn't growing and you're still in debt and all of those things. So your the dysfunction of the busyness, in spite of all the action it's taking, is probably going to show up either in your relationships or in your bank balance, even though you're doing all of this busyness. Okay, so how do you come out of it? It's about identifying your motivation for action and digging deep into your motivation for action. Why are you doing what you're doing? What is the purpose for what you're doing right now? And it's about eliminating all of the actions that you've been taking that are distraction, avoidance, and fear-based. They're the actions you take in order to avoid the void and not knowing what's next. So they're the actions you want to stop doing, and the actions you want to start doing are ones that bring joy, meaning, and fulfillment for you. Now, if you're caught in a career or business where that feels so far of a stretch for you because you need to do those things or you have to do those things so that your business is successful, you still have a job, then take it in your downtime. Start in your downtime, right? So when you're not doing your business stuff, when you're not in your career, the time that you have outside of that, how are you spending it? So start there with this work and then start to let it creep into your work and career life. You will find, I've had ladies that have done this and through this journey of coming out of a busyness addiction have gotten raises, taken on more responsibility, been earmarked for progression in the corporate ladder, not because they did more, but because they did less and did it well. So know that it doesn't have to be career suicide, what I'm talking about. It can actually be the complete opposite. I get more clients. I find it more enjoyable to work with them than when I was hustling and working hard for it and not happy myself in my life. So the key is, what are you doing to avoid the void? Instead, lean back into the void where you would normally go out and do something to distract yourself, numb yourself, you know, fear-based because you don't know what else to do. Lean into the void there, and then use that time out to go, what actually brings me joy? What actually brings life into my life and makes me feel fulfilled and happy? And do those things. You know, do the things that add value. And there's a beautiful quote from Barbara Stanny, and she says this: when you do something from your soul, you feel a river moving through you, a joy. They're the things to spend your time and energy doing. So if it feels like it's going to be career suicide for you to just jump in and start doing this in your business or your career, start in your downtime, because I can guarantee the actions that you're taking in your business for distraction and avoidance, you're doing in your home life as well, because how you do anything is how you do everything. So start in your home life, and that positive intention will start to seep into the other areas of your life. So for example, you're watching TV and you're numbing yourself out with Netflix marathons. You can, and binge watching Netflix, that can be something that you do, or you're scrolling through your Facebook feed because you have nothing better to be doing, or you're avoiding the not knowing, right? So where are those actions creeping into your life? Come out of them and replace them with more self-nourishing and self-honoring and joyful actions instead. It requires like a real self-inventory period of observing yourself and paying attention to, when are you going into distraction and avoidance and numbing, and when are you actually letting yourself be in the moment, even if there's not something to occupy both your hands, and what is it that you want to lean into that brings you more joy and fulfillment. So spend some time in that. Give this a go. Have a look. Take a self-inventory. Where are you using distraction and avoidance and numbing to avoid the void of not knowing? Surrender and lean back into the void where you would normally go into distraction and busyness. Breathe, because you're going to be feeling some unpleasant feelings, because simply these unpleasant feelings have been driving that avoidant behavior. So you feel the feelings, you're less likely to need that coping strategy, because you're no longer running away from what you must be facing within yourself, and then you free yourself to choose differently. I've had so many women who do this work where when they, instead of going into business, they lean back into the void and their next inspired intention comes through. You'll be amazed. You'll actually find a lot more freedom and joy that come into your life just by stopping avoiding the things that are being called to face within yourself. Alrighty, so check it out. See how you go. Lean into the void rather than avoiding the void. And that you do that, identify the actions that are busyness, distraction, and avoidance. Identify the actions that genuinely bring you joy and bring life to what you do. Do those, eliminate the old busy ones. And I look forward to seeing how this makes a difference for you. If you want to do, you can share below this video, or you can send us an email. The email's at the bottom of this page if you're watching this on our website. Let me know how you find it. Are you in a busyness addiction? What are you willing to do to come out of it? Let us know, and let us know how this strategy of leaning back into the void rather than avoiding the void, and then identifying what are your motivations for actions, how it makes a difference for you too. All right. Well, remember, the true power to transform your life lies in your own hands. Claim it like a freaking badass. I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.